Oh boy, do we have an action-packed Idaho show for you this evening. Stay tuned. We're going to have some fun tonight. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Let's Talk Live podcast. This is episode 23, and it is July 9th, 2023. We have an action-packed show on the way. We are going to do our best to debunk all the BS that's been floating around on the internets, them damn Twitter spheres and them damn YouTube channels. But I could not do this alone. I have an amazing panel of guests this evening. I'm going to bring them in one by one, and I'm going to start with, of course, the lovely Laura is with us. Agent Chase, how are you?
Good. How are you, Brian?
It's good to see you back. It's been a little while.
Oh, yeah, like a week or so.
Yeah. I'm
Busy
loving
summer.
I'm loving the good vibe sign, the tribute in the background.
Oh,
man.
yes.
It's really great. I love it. I
Yes.
love it. I love it. And of course, you all know this lovely lady as well. We have Tanya from the Titanium Built YouTube channel joining the show. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
I'm great. Welcome to the panel.
Good.
Are you ready to get into some debunking tonight?
I am
All right.
ready.
All right. And we're going to bring in our special guest, the first time on the panel. I've been actually waiting to officially have him on the panel. We have Detective John in the house. How are you, man?
I'm great. Hey, everybody. I'm very excited to be here. And you don't have me live because I got a big zit on my forehead. So I just didn't want you guys to feel uncomfortable for me.
Nah, it's all good, man.
Hey, Brian,
I'm just kidding. I really don't.
I just want to let you know your Nightbot is timing people out. My
Oh.
Nightbot did that. I forget how I turned the timer off, though.
Okay.
It'll time everybody out. I just realized I forgot. Mine did that. Like my first time I ran my Nightbot, I saw it was timing like people that shouldn't have been. I was like,
Okay.
there's Ivy.
Why don't we do this? Let's get rid of that, and then if you can help me with that after, we'll do that.
Actually,
Cool.
I'll even because I think Vincent fixed mine. I'll text him.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll worry about that later. Just let me know if it's in the chat anymore. It should be out of there.
Okay.
And I apologize, but thank you for letting me do that.
Yeah, you're
Thank you for letting me,
welcome.
because I didn't want to go through the whole show with people getting timed out. So
Exactly.
anyway, let's get into the meat of the bones of the show. So there's been a lot. It's funny. We had this new security footage that was dropped or leaked or put out there, however anybody wants to look at it. I tend to think that videos like that don't just get leaked. I think they're put out for a specific reason. And I wanted to kind of sit back and see, what was going to happen over this last couple of days, how people were going to analyze and look at it. I guess I'll just probably go around the panel and see what everybody thinks so far. I'm going to start with Tanya, because I know you've done some videos on it. I haven't had a chance to even do anything. I've been so busy. So what do you think so far? Do you think this was something that was leaked, or was it put out there?
I don't know either way. I mean, it's very weird that it came out 8 months later. That was really weird to me. So I was just trying to find out where the video originated from, and I still can't really figure it out. Who put it onto Reddit first, because it was on Reddit and then it came to YouTube. But yeah, I don't know. It's just I'd rather watch paint dry than watch that video for hours upon hours. And it's like, so what is it, like 5 hours worth of video they have out there now?
About 5 hours now.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing that I thought that was pretty good about it, and from what I see and some of the action that's going on in the video, is that it lines up with the PCA. So I mean, its authenticity, I mean, I don't know. I mean, anybody could throw a video up and do an overlay on it and drive a specific launcher in that area, you
Yeah, I
know.
can't
So
do
that's kind of way I
overlays.
looked at it.
Yeah.
Do we know? Well, it could be. I mean, I don't know. Laura, what do you think?
I definitely think it is a legit video. Why it wasn't leaked until late? Perhaps somebody is just trying to set the record straight that here, this is what we have, based upon examining what that property looks like, as well as the neighbors and the view. I mean, I'm sold on it. I actually believe that it is a good video.
Okay.
The neighbors right behind it,
Yeah.
they're one of the properties that is blurred. I
Sure.
believe that property has video of something as well,
Yeah.
but we just don't have it. But it is confirmed that um, that property does have cameras as well, the property behind Linda Lane. So, yeah, I definitely I believe it. I'll go on record. I believe this is real. Let's see what
I
Farron.
think that
I'm leaning that way too. Detective John, what do you think?
I believe it's 100% legit.
Yeah.
I believe it you know, it lines up with the PCA timeline perfectly. There's things that people don't realize. So that's a DVR system. So when detectives did the canvassing, they established that there was cameras. They went after that DVR, so they took that DVR. Okay, so that DVR was in evidence. So it could have been in evidence until they retrieved all the data footage and, you know, compiled everything, because they had multiple DVRs. I can assure you, it's like the gas station one that we saw from the very beginning.
Right.
That person that leaked that out actually took a screenshot
Yeah,
of
I remember
the
seeing that.
screen.
Yep.
So, but that DVR was probably taken unless they could burn it right there. But I would imagine this DVR, I'm just speculating, but for that complex was probably not a burnable DVR. Probably
Sure.
had to be plugged in. So they retrieved that DVR. So that could answer that question as to why it took so long. Because let's face it, I mean, if they see something, you don't get it right back. I mean,
Right.
just the mere process itself of returning it and, you know, are taking it, retrieving the data off of it, and then returning it is going to take months.
Yeah.
So I'm sure people probably haven't thought of that, but knowing what I know and what I've done, that's probably the case. And when they got it back, it wasn't wiped. They would have no reason to wipe it.
Sure.
In fact, they may want to give it back so that footage does get leaked out. And if you hear that some of these other creators are saying that that benefits him, I don't know what they're looking at. Because
I don't think it does at all, because
that
it matches right up
100,000%
to the
does not
PCA.
benefit Bryan Kohberger.
Right.
And from the beginning, when I watched that, I said, you know what? I was speaking with another individual about this, and I said, you know, they're not going to fixate on that car. They're going to fixate on that stupid truck at 28 degrees in the morning where somebody's running to it because they're probably trying to get their ass in the truck because they're freezing their asses off.
Yeah, hang on one second. I don't want anybody typing anybody's name of who you think owns this video. I will delete it. We are not here to dox anybody in this chat. I don't want to hear anybody's names. If you think that is someone's that owns that video, I will delete you in 2 seconds. We are not doxing anybody's name this evening. We are not putting anybody's names out there. I'm sorry, John. I'm gonna answer this really quick. So this Faraday says Goosey on Twitter said that it was sold by the owner to someone and then a creator to blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Well, you know, listen, I think there's a lot of people right now trying to, I guess, clean up their narrative, because some of this stuff make them look bad as the stuff that they've been putting out there. Because from what I see in the video and what I've watched in the video, if it is what they're talking about in that PCA, it matches up completely with it. And there's been a lot of wrong narratives about that PCA and that video. And this kind of just corroborates that evidence now. So, you know, that's kind of my thought on it. But we are not here to dox anybody's name. I will shut you down.
I also think that the video, I mean, if the video is legit, you only really need to look at that 407 mark or whatever it is. I mean, the whole
We'll pull it
video,
up.
in my opinion, you know, like in my opinion, you don't need the videos that's out. That's 1 to 2 a.m., 2 to 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Like, you know, those videos that people are, you know, going live with for, they've 20 plus hours so far since this has been released. It hasn't even been a week. They've done
Right.
these 20 plus. I've been adding them up, you know, and it's not one creator, it's multiple that they're on like 20 hours. And that's today. That wasn't even starting today's live. So, like, to be staring at this screen for 20 hours, I'm sorry. I'd
Well,
rather
yeah,
watch paint dry.
if you stared at the screen for 20 hours, you are going to start seeing and hearing things.
Mm-hmm.
that aren't
And
there.
I think the audio could be faked by now. I think the audio could be
100%.
like tampered with by now because these videos are everywhere.
Well, you gotta also realize, you think about this small segment of video that we're all complaining about watching since 1 o'clock in the morning. Think about the amount of terabytes of video that the law enforcement is going through and combing through to try and find him. So,
Yeah, so I could never do that.
Yeah, John, it equates to 2.5 to 3 years worth.
Right, and it was like
Yeah.
250,000 movies. Is what's an analyst told me. I mean, that's pretty crazy. You could put 250,000 movies on 51 or 2 terabytes. That's a lot of movies.
Yeah, I did the math, and the hours came out to like close to 3 years.
Right. Yeah,
Crazy.
I mean,
that's about
insane.
right. I mean, but there's, you know, there's so many things that you know, this digital footprint, the DNA is huge, but, you know, I would say that the digital footprint is going to be even more impressive, and you know, it's gonna put the nail in his coffin.
Let's do this. Let's watch the video, just the 3-point turn, the supposed the suspected 3-point turn. We'll watch this and see what we think here.
I have a question about that 3-point turn too, because I thought that was at the other end of King and Queen when he does that 3-point turn. Because then they drive back down King Road. That's what I was getting.
Well, that's what
concerned about.
suspected.
Yeah.
But we
So
think he went up into that area where the apartments is, and that would be up. I think he drove down one, like it did. You go past that one road and go to Linda and come up, because you can come up into King there.
Yeah.
This is where this is that 3-point turn.
Does anybody else remember in the very beginning when they were doing some measurements on some skid marks right there at the entrance when you pull up into the front of the building, like to ride down the front end?
Right.
But they were all out there and no one's really talked about it. I wish somebody would find that video from early on.
I had a picture of it.
Do you? But I
wonder if I still have it.
They have. That's something good to look at, because it was freezing cold, you know, and there's probably ice. I know it snowed the next day. It snowed the day of, didn't it?
No.
Right. The day after, a couple days after.
Yeah, I'm sorry, the following day. But it was 25 to, you know, it was below freezing. And, you know, you're going on that upgrade. A car is going to, you know, spin the tires, you know, if it gets a little icy. So I think there was skid marks there that they may have had video seeing him doing that. And that may be why they were photographing those skid marks.
Yeah.
Let me just do this real quick. Guys, look, we got about 165 people watching. Let's get this up to 100 likes. Let's get this stream up to 100 likes, because that helps get this out in the algorithm. Then we can get more people that will join in the chat. We're going to play the video here and just kind of get into that point with a 3-point turn, and we'll talk about that. And we'll be able to see that car pull into the upper left side of the video. So let's play
is this Jeff's rendition, or is
mine.
This just
it's mine. I put a filter. It's the original video from what I got, the original source. I put a filter on it, and I enhanced the audio a little bit so you can hear.
Okay.
Nothing else is done to it. This is from my channel.
You can hear him coming up right here.
Yep. Now, to me, which would be in this area right here where the car is,
Right.
photos of Elantras that I've seen, kind of matches up to me.
Well, if you look at the eyebrow, I was at what's called a THI at one
Sure.
point, traffic homicide investigator. And that part, the side from the front window to the back, the back trunk is called the eyebrow.
Yep.
The brow.
Right.
So an easy way to identify a lot of vehicles is just look at the radiuses of the brow from the right to the left, like your eye. Some people have a slanted, some turn up, some turn down, some are rounded. So the first thing that I look at when I'm looking at this video is I'm looking at that back where the brow goes past the back door and slopes and comes together to a point pointing toward the tail lights. Right. And that is a 100% match to the Elantra when Jeff H actually did a superimpose. And I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. That was beautiful.
I can pull that up, right? He wouldn't
mind,
right?
Yeah. Jeff would love for you to pull it up. I mean,
cool.
He's very, very, he's very helpful. Okay. I talk to him almost every day. And it's funny because when this video came out, we were talking about, he was actually working on it. I said, man, I can't wait till you superimpose that on there. It's going to be just epic.
Yeah.
And he went the steps further and even made it flash and say 2015 Elantra. I mean,
right.
It was amazing.
Let's play this, and if you guys want to go over and watch this video, you can go over to Jeff's channel and check it out. So we'll play this. It looks like an Elantra to me. This video.
Down to the tinted windows too.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he did a good job. Look at that. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
There it is.
Dude,
it doesn't get any better.
Crazy,
that's
bro.
A perfect match.
That's so crazy, bro.
That's like lifting a perfect latent thumbprint
right.
and setting it next to the suspect's thumbprint and going, yep, wow. Those are the same loops and those are the same whorls. Those are the same ridges. That is our guy.
That's nuts. Let's rewind that so everybody can see that again, because everybody's going, wow. Jeff did a really good job on this.
Yeah,
he's
amazing,
nuts, bro.
He's amazing.
So if that doesn't convince you, I mean.
And you know what's funny in Jeff's defense? He goes to all the shows and he likes to converse with everybody, and he's very tactful. Doesn't ever, but he has questions, and they just ate him alive, and kicked him off their shows and stuff. And I'm like, hey, Jeff, that's their loss, bro, because he would do stuff for everybody like this. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that, folks. I wouldn't be surprised if law enforcement didn't actually, if the SAO didn't see this and actually use it as part of their evidence. That's how good it is.
Yeah, if anybody wants to go check that out on Jeff's channel, I'll give you the link there. You can go up and check that out and give him a like over there too. So the other one that I wanted to go through too, that's been the big topic of conversation, is the dumpster cam with the said, everybody thinks it's that Hyundai Elantra. And Jeff did a really great job on that as well too. And I actually have a little bit of evidence that I can share this evening too. So this was a big topic of conversation where everybody thought that this Elantra came into the area at 12:44 a.m. and he was in the area before. It's not an Elantra. It's a BMW X6. And I can prove it to you as well too. So we'll play this.
Well, you remember the big thing was the sun. It's got a moonroof or a sunroof.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the vehicle.
Yeah, it's not. It's an
unbelievable. People.
And what I want to look at too is, if you look, and I don't know if you can see my cursor, this area right here, and you're going to see the photos that I pull up in the back where this bumper is, you can see that trim level. And unfortunately, the photos that I'm going to show you, because I was kind of creeping in a parking lot when I did it, I didn't want to have like an over an overview look of like taking someone's picture of their car like this, it did have that front sunroof on it. The way that roof line is, it's very like bowed and bubbled, so that the sunroof is pushed really closer to the the front of the windshield. But we'll play this and then I'll pull up my.
You know what else, Brian, is do you see a front tag on that vehicle?
No. On this one?
Yeah, I can't tell.
I
haven't looked real close. But you see everyone, you see the brow on that, like we talked about, it kind of goes.
You can't see.
It's totally different than Elantra.
But that's a BMW. I mean, I know BMW.
Yeah, it's definitely a BMW.
I own a BMW.
And that's kind of like a crossover vehicle. It's not really an SUV. Yeah. It's not. It's more like a crossover.
What do you girls think about that? Anybody want to chime in?
Oh, I definitely think that's a BMW. It's just not shaped the right way for it to be a Hyundai Elantra.
There you go.
I agree.
It's definitely not an Elantra.
Is definitely more elevated with the BMW. Like John said, it's like a crossover.
Yeah, this is an X6. I took a photo of this the other day, and you can see what I was talking about where the tailpipe is. That gray area, that's where kind of that bumper runs along. You can see it here in this photo too. Now the sunroof is, I didn't get a good top picture of it, but that sunroof is located more closer to the, the front of that windshield over there. So another thing too, people have to notice when you have a white car for some reason, and maybe John knows a little bit about this. I know everybody says, oh, his windows weren't tinted. His windows weren't tinted. If you have a white car and the interior inside is black or a dark color, and I believe Brian's was, that'll kind of cancel out the light, and it makes it look like your car actually has tinted windows. Because I know people that have been pulled over like at night, and it's just like the factory tint that they put on there, but it looks a lot darker at night. So
well, you can clearly see that his windows are tinted too on the traffic stops.
I also think the wheels in the other video have black rims, and Kohberger's car don't have black rims.
Right. Yeah, that crossover vehicle has probably a upgraded package. Like this is kind of low level package on this car. I don't see any extras on it. Those wheels are pretty generic.
And this is just this is not really related, but kind of related. A lot of people were asking about Bryan Kohberger if he had a GPS like in his car. And I saw somebody, they thought I guess that cracked the case the other day, because they were like, no, you can see inside his car at the traffic light or like the traffic stop. And I'm like, well, if you look at his dad's leg, you can see the GPS on his phone. Like literally there's a map, like it shows you right there. Like if he saw the GPS, why would he be using his dad's GPS if he had one in his car?
Right.
So it was kind of silly.
That's why I don't think that this car, for, without using the technical term, I don't think this car had the black box like some people are implying.
Yeah,
where they're gonna get all this data off of it. I don't.
Yeah, the Hyundai Elantra he had is a base model. There's nothing
very basic
about that Hyundai.
Not to mention it's a 2015. Yeah. I mean, so but in the future, a lot of vehicles, are already your commercial vehicles are mandated to have them. Your semis and stuff like that. So that's another thing that I would be looking for is, if you remember, when Nancy Grace took the route from the location, the back road that they suspect he took. Well, she kept saying that it was very eerie, and there was a lot of semi truck traffic on that. It was a 2-lane road,
and it was dark as hell out there.
Right.
Too, she said.
So knowing what I know, if the investigators really dove in and they figured out, and they put out there, hey, who's running these routes? Let us know, because they have dash cam footage on those trucks, and they may have actually captured him coming those back roads from semi trucks.
Agreed.
Just something to think about. I mean, I've seen it. I haven't actually had a case involved in that, but I've heard of them. A partner of mine had one.
I got a question. So there's been the thing that's been, well, I guess not really odd to me, but I find it strange, is that they subpoenaed all that video from UPS drivers, And what I thought was, and I actually talked to my UPS driver that comes to my business. I said, "Hey, do you guys have cameras in your trucks?" And he's like, "Yeah, we do."
Yep.
And I was wondering if they were just trying to gather all that video to see if they caught him in and around that, because it was I forget the timeline that they had. It was like a week, I think, prior
like
to the
10
murder.
to 14 days prior to the murders.
So I'm wondering if they caught him scoping that, in and around that area, or they were looking to see where he was at using
Well, they
UPS.
could determine if they contacted FedEx, UPS, or any of the other delivery companies. Even well, not the USPS, but FedEx and UPS, if they could coordinate the timelines and say, hey, we need to know if you were making any deliveries around these times. So they would subpoena the footage and get it. So that's great investigative work right there. So for these sleuths to be saying that they've dropped the ball in this case, they've done a horrible job, that it's just nonsense.
So real quick, I just want to do this. No conspiracies. Says looks like a Tesla crossover too. Tesla crossover wouldn't have an exhaust sound, and that car had an exhaust sound.
Right, it wouldn't have exhaust.
Yeah.
John's asking, does the state have to provide all evidence before they go to trial?
No.
They have discovery.
No.
They have discovery, but there are some things the feds don't have to provide. So that's why they're holding back. But here's the thing, you're going to have a discovery phase, and here's what the defense wants, and this is why they want it. They want all of the digital footprint right now. What hasn't BK provided?
His alibi. So what better way to create an alibi if you can see what the state has right now? Exactly.
Because if he makes up an alibi and the digital footprint contradicts his alibi, then he's a done deal. But if we can get that info, and you got to think about this from a tactical standpoint, from the the defense, if they already know what the evidence is and they have time to review it, what can they establish?
John, I've said nearly the same thing. I've said that if they can determine that the prosecution has him placed at the residence, then they know which direction to go with an alibi, meaning he was there visiting one of the roommates, one of the survivors, one of the deceased, or just one of the survivors. And then I was thinking, maybe that's part of their tactic when they tried to get the interview with Bethany Funk to intimidate her.
It's exactly right. This is a game. Don't hate the player, hate the game.
Yeah, that's what I've always said, that this is chess, it's not checkers. And another thing that I always thought was to an advantage too, is what they were trying to do when Ann Taylor, when they went to search Bryan Kohberger's apartment, they had Ann Taylor to go there. What did Ann Taylor do when she went there? They took photos of his apartment because he wanted to see what they took.
Yep, this is our conversation we had that one night, Bryan, on the phone.
Yes. And the thing that is also a little troubling to me, how everybody says, oh, the state's hiding evidence, the state's not giving evidence. Well, I want to know what little box that Ann Taylor snuck out past those police officers when she left the apartment. What was in that box? Because it stated in the in his writings, or saying that she came out of that house with a box.
Yep.
So I want to know what's inside that box.
He had her take those photos in his apartment because he can't go there to see what all they took and what they didn't.
Exactly.
Right.
So he is using a subtraction to say, okay, this is what I left in there. This is what is left. So they must have taken X, Y, and Z. So that way he can get in front of what the prosecution may have, which just shows to prove almost not necessarily guilt, but just some type of guilty conscience. Not saying guilt. I'm just saying, like, if I didn't do anything, and why would I tell my attorney to go take pictures inside my apartment?
And he probably had her pick something that he probably had her get something that he knew would be there.
Right.
The cops wouldn't have taken. You know what I mean? So it has to have been
something innocuous.
Exactly.
Yeah, but why was she allowed to leave the apartment with anything?
Exactly.
I'm kind of floors me. So I think she would be severely admonished if she actually left there with something that she didn't bring in. So I'm kind of skeptical about that, because I can't see an attorney doing that, especially a state attorney. But hey, I've been wrong before. But maybe it's something else that she did have on her. Maybe she took it out of a purse, or I don't know. I don't even recall seeing that. So this is Dutch to
I
me.
want to say it was in one of the
Was it a big
warrant?
box? Was it something that could
was
go
in-
in?
Said it was a small box that she took.
Yeah, I mean, could have been a camera box, maybe.
Right.
Could have been something like that, because I wouldn't want to jump down that rabbit hole personally, because I just think that would be just it would destroy her career if she did that.
She also took a TV too.
Yeah,
I didn't know she took TV. I remember her taking things from the property. What's her name? The cop that was there, the woman cop.
Dawn.
She met her there.
she
Daniels,
she can't take anything in this case without it being processed and tagged as evidence. She can't.
Right.
So she did that.
Yeah.
Then
It was in one of the legal documents.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how. Well, at least she couldn't do it here. I don't know about Idaho, but there's no way that any defense attorney is going to walk into a suspect's house and take property. I mean, even if the suspect says it's okay to take it, there's no way it's going to happen. And if they allowed that to happen, that's a huge mistake.
So real quick, before we go any further, look, we're not legal experts. We're not law enforcement. We're just purely speculating here. Everything is alleged conversation. So just want to get that out there as well too. We're just analyzing, giving our opinions on the panel this evening.
Wait, I was law enforcement for a long time.
Former law. You are. You can take the hit. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. No, you guys can punch me in the mouth. And when somebody asked a minute ago if they have to divulge all the evidence in discovery, yes, a lot does, but there are some things that don't have to be divulged. It's like this genealogy. The genealogy. Let's hit on that for a minute. I don't mean to get off topic.
Sure,
we brought it up.
Let's go.
Okay. This is so simple, everyone listening know how simple this is.
Well, wait,
because
before you go, it's either the chicken or the egg. I love that little line. It doesn't matter either it was the car or the sheath. It still doesn't matter. I'm like, it was the chicken or the egg.
it doesn't. So Brian, I'm just going to do a hypothetical.
Yep.
If you're my suspect, or you're not even a suspect, let's say you committed a murder. And I canvass, and I'm interviewing.
By the way, this is all hypothetical.
I'm interviewing people, and
right.
We're trying to establish. It's a whodunit. We don't know. Okay, so, bam! I find a knife sheath. Same scenario. Find a knife sheath. We find DNA on it. We don't know whose DNA it is because it's not in the system, because you're not a criminal yet.
Yep. No hits and CODIS.
So there's no CODIS, there's no nothing. So we've got basically nothing but male DNA. We know it's male. It's touch DNA. It's viable. We can use it, but we got to find a match. So weeks, a month goes by. We've got all these leads. I mean, you're talking about massive media coverage. You're talking about a white Elantra, and I'm banging my head the whole time. I'm thinking, how many white Elantras could there be right there in that area?
Right.
Tons in a college town.
Right. So especially one without a front license plate. Mm-hmm. Okay. Remember that, everyone, that no front license plate. Pennsylvania doesn't require it. Okay. Yep. Right. Idaho and Washington, Idaho do. So we get a lead. We ask for leads. Remember when the chief asked for help? I need your help. We need your help. We can't do this without the public's help. So everyone nationwide is looking for a white Elantra. And then bam, 8 miles away, allegedly, and it may not have been a security guard, it could have been anybody. Do you think that there weren't 1,000 leads coming in that there was a white Elantra at WSU when this was going on? So you get a lead. White Elantra comes in. There's a sticker on it, a university sticker, which that security guard can look up and determine, hey, that's Bryan Kohberger. He's actually an employee / student here. He lives here, yada, yada, calls it in. So now they got a name. They start running that name. They figure out, well, he's got his tags changed, but it was previous Pennsylvania tag. Let's let's check that out. So they ask for mutual aid. So they get with the Pennsylvania State Police. Pennsylvania State Police does surveillance. They do garbology. I refer to it as garbology. So when a lot of people don't know, when you pull that trash to the curb, it's abandoned property.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So I've written so many search warrants just based on garbology. It would blow your mind. So
hey, John,
I've actually dove in dumpsters to get. Go ahead.
Did you know that being detective does not make you a legal expert?
Yeah. Okay.
I think you're pretty close to the source, though, right?
I'm the one that puts the cases together. Happy Phantom. If you wanna, challenge me, go ahead. But I can tell you this much: doing what I did for as long as I did it, I've got a lot more experience than a lot of FBI agents. Okay, I'll tell you that much right now, because I was in the hood. I did this stuff every day. I was in suppression hearings every week. When I came up in the very beginning during crack, it was like shooting fish in a barrel. But I don't want to talk about myself. I'm just going to ignore that guy.
It's
He
all
can
good,
try
man.
to insult my intelligence.
Like, we get it. There's a certain sect of people out there that just don't like law enforcement. It's funny because we were talking. We were talking a little bit earlier before we came in here. Everything was wide. Everybody was so wide open when we had no suspect or no one was arrested. But the tables turned the minute that someone became a suspect and was arrested in this case.
Right.
And all of a sudden now that he's arrested, oh God, no, he couldn't have done this. He couldn't have done it. And I want to make this very, 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 very clear here. Everybody on this panel agrees as well, too. Bryan Kohberger right now, as he sits in Latah County jail, is innocent until proven guilty, and he gets his due date in court. We will see that if this goes to trial. But I just find it very funny that none of these people came out in the chat. No, everybody was, it's because the hunt is over for all of you. The suspect now, the person that they believe very strongly what this evidence is pointing towards, is now in jail. So the hunt for you the hunt is all over. That's what you're angry about. But we have work to do here. We have work to do here and figure out if this is the guy or if it isn't the guy. And if it's not the guy, then we still have a lot of work to do. So
there's a big problem if this is not the guy. We got a big problem.
And to reply to that individual that condescended to say something like that.
I didn't go to law school either, Happy. I didn't go to law school
I did take some pre-law. I became a father young and didn't have time, long story.
Anyway, we'll move on with the show.
So where was I again? Oh, I was talking about garbology. So it's so simple. You have you have the DNA off the sheath. You didn't have a suspect at first. Now you get a viable suspect that has a vehicle that was potentially seen on video, or witnesses saw it, or whatever. Right. We don't know what they really have. So all you do at that point is you've just got to match the two. Okay, so we know that he was being surveilled. We know that he was surveilled scrubbing his car, basically, from what I've heard. I don't know. Sure. Again, I don't know that for sure, but that's what's out there.
He had a month.
So now we have an opportunity to get his DNA. Okay, now we've already got the ball rolling. We've already got the ball rolling on the garbology from Pennsylvania, just to try and establish some more intel. Okay, so we pull garbage, and it was how many quintillion that Mr. Kohberger was Bryan's dad.
Octillion.
Octillion.
5 octillions.
Yeah, I mean, that's like more than people on the earth. So
you know what that is? That's the distance from the sun to Jupiter.
Wow. So I mean, there could be an alien out there with that.
There could be an alien but
we,
this.
But within our sphere of the Earth, our atmosphere, there's likely nobody else. So anyway, we've got those avenues that are being worked. Okay, so we get the congeniality done. They sent it off. The FBI came and grabbed it and sent it off to whichever one, which I don't know which company they use, but people don't also know that some of those companies do not cooperate with law enforcement.
Right.
It's in the paperwork because some people feel funny about that. But anyway, kind of probably simultaneously, they were able to get that DNA confirming that that's his dad. Okay. We got a vehicle, dad, DNA on a sheath, match dad. Bam. Okay. But we also probably pulled the trash from when he was cleaning his car. We might have got DNA off of that, which we can establish, or just pulled his regular garbage and got DNA. And then post arrest, we got a buccal swab. So we got that DNA. So everyone really needs to get off of the genealogy, that DNA, the genealogy DNA, because it doesn't matter. Does not matter. Who cares? Who
I
cares?
Got a question. I got a question. So can someone on the panel, because I have a hard time trying to figure this out. Can someone on the panel tell me how a knife sheath with apparently Bryan Kohberger's DNA is on a bed next to two girls that are murdered? How did that get there? How
It
did
was
that get
planted, Brian. The police
Well,
planted it.
So if it was planted, that means that someone either in law enforcement or someone in that house had to have been around Bryan Kohberger weeks or days before, got his DNA, put it into a sealed container, took it out, wiped it on a knife sheath, and hoped that it stayed there through second or third transfer, and then unveiled this sheath, threw it down on a bed that's probably covered with blood and all that, wedged in between a comforter and unfortunately a dead victim, and there it is. It's planted, right?
All right.
Is that the story? Is that the story, Tanya? Is that the story, Laura?
That's what
Yeah.
all these hip for click so-called creators are trying to spend for everybody, and they're eating it up. It's pretty sick, isn't it?
Yeah, and Occam's razor, the most plausible explanation is usually the correct explanation. So
The easiest one, the one that makes logical sense. Not to mean like I don't mean the facts. I mean if it sounds, but I mean like the easiest explanation really usually is the explanation.
And this is what I want to talk about really quick too, because Rising brings up a great point. She says it infuriates me that's placed. Here's the thing: you have when we had the motion for discovery, and then the state talked about the DNA evidence, and they gave their kind of summary of how they came up with determining how Bryan Kohberger's DNA ended up on that knife sheath. Then it was almost like the defense came back and retorted and said, and I did it. I did a show on this. I literally put them side by side and we read the language. Now you have to keep in mind, the defense is there for Bryan Kohberger. Of course, they're going to put things in like placed, or the one that I always call the chicken and the egg theory. It doesn't matter what came first, the DNA or the videos that you're chasing around trying to find my client. Of course, they're going to do language and wording like that. They're trying to raise reasonable doubt in the jury when they do these types of things. So I don't know if anybody wants to add to that.
Well, I'll add to that, because when I read that piece of work that she put together, I'm no law professor, lovely. But I can tell you this much: I've been around many judges, I've been to many hearings, many trials, and I can tell you right now, we would not see it, but that piece of literature that she submitted and filed to the court was a slap in the face and was so unprofessionally written. You say what you want, but that is not a professionally written response. She was admonished 100% by the judge. I promise you that. Now, we're not going to see it because then it would taint the whole process, right? But I can guarantee you that judge had a conversation with her. And you know why I know that? Because in the hearing, what did she say? Okay, let's go back to the literature. If anyone reading that literature cannot surmise that this woman is trying to imply, that this attorney is trying to imply that the state was withholding evidence intentionally, then I tell you what, you need to go back to the first and second grade and see what your comprehension is, because I can tell you that is exactly what she was trying to imply.
Mhm.
She did it on a Friday. She knew what was going to happen. Okay.
Exactly.
So when they had their hearing, what did she say multiple times? Your Honor, I'm not trying to imply.
Yep.
I'm
She
not
did.
trying to imply that the
Laura and
state
I
is
picked up
withholding
on that.
evidence.
Yep.
She was backing. She was backstroking
Backing
so
off
hard.
big
She
time.
knew, everyone. Listen when I tell you, she knew she messed up, and she was backstroking big
She
time.
said it big time.
And she said it multiple times. And I can tell you right now, she was spanked for it.
Yeah.
I promise you.
Laura, Tanya, anything you want to add to that?
No, I mean, she knew how to time her legal documents on when they would hit the website, and all of us would see it.
Yep.
She knows how to play the game. She's very, very smart. She knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tanya.
she
She does
used certain
100%.
words. Yeah, she used certain words, and she dropped that right before the weekend because she knew people were going to go shit. We were going to go crazy over that.
Oh, yeah.
We were just going to go over crazy. We were like,
Well,
and
and-
people went overboard. And then when we got the reaction we got Monday was, well, we're seeking the death penalty now. It was like, well, what?
Yeah.
That
weird
response
too.
was epic. That was
Right, 'cause it was
It really
like-
was.
It was like you had the state, the motion for discovery. Then you had you had the defense come back, kind of try to overtop that, and then the state comes back and they're like, well, we're seeking the death penalty. And they knew all this was going to be, it was going to line up perfectly, because what did the judge just do in that hearing? He loosened the gag a little bit. So they were kind of using, even though the gag was still on at that point, they were using that website as kind of their media outlet. They knew she was trying to clean up Kohberger's image, and the state was trying to double down and come back. It was a brilliant head game they were doing.
Especially because they had just dropped the octillion DNA.
Yep.
Right.
Like that, like the week before. So everyone was like, oh, Kohberger's guilty. I don't know. I remember when there for a minute, everyone was kind of on the same level again. Like almost like in the beginning. It was a good few days. I think it lasted maybe not even a few days, probably 1 or 2 days. But then it was like that other, then the defense came out with their remark. And then it was like, everyone's like, okay, like now they're pro Kohberger. And I'm like, what is going on in true crime?
Right.
I was all kinds of confused.
If you don't mind, Brian, I'd like to finish up on the I'd like to finish up on this DNA thing real quick. So because I want everyone to understand something here. The state is not trying to hold back on anything when it comes to them finding out that Brian was his dad. You know why it doesn't matter and why they don't want to use it? Because they don't need it. Okay. Because
they got that direct match.
Right. They've got the direct match, and they probably got it from the lead that they got. And it probably all happened. I'm saying probably because it's very probable. And even if they got it after, it doesn't matter. What the state what the defense wants to do is let everyone believe that the state is, has this plot to just hold back on all this evidence, and that's evidence. It's not evidence. And case law is going to support them on that. Because what they want to do is they want to go through the family tree and start subpoenaing everybody in the family tree, and it could just open up, and it's not going to happen. But the seed is out there. The seed is planted, just like the seed was planted on all kinds of other stuff, like the placed was a war of words. She's planted that seed. She used the word placed to send a subliminal message to the world out there that somebody put that sheet there.
I also believe that
it's wrong.
Her putting the DNA in there too about the unidentified male DNA. Like I think that they might be identified in the state's case. I don't know if she could put that in the legal documents like that or not. But it's just kind of weird that it was put in there.
No, it's out
we've
there.
We've never heard that before. And
it would be objected to, and it would be sustained. So I'm telling you right now, she got away with murder doing that, but I guarantee you she got spanked by the judge, because that judge ain't gonna take that kind of crap. He's a no nonsense judge. He's very professional. He's not gonna allow any doors to be open for any kind of appeal. Although this is going to be
Exactly.
a appeal because it's a DP case. That's the bottom line.
So I have a big. I jump in here real quick. I got a big question. This is I hear this a lot. A lot of people say, I don't think they have the right guy. Just my opinion. But
Well,
no one
then-
ever gives me. But no one ever gives me an explanation. I've challenged people in my comments. I've asked them, please provide me with something or just an idea of your story why you don't think it's the right guy.
Right. Articulate to me
That's
rather
what
than
I
a
needed.
one-liner.
I need it articulated. So tell us why. That's what we need to know.
And if
even
it's
I have to
not
open
him, then
yeah,
who?
right. Even if I have to open the phone lines tonight, maybe we'll do that.
Mhm.
But if someone doesn't believe it's him, call in and let us know
Yeah,
why. you
nobody's going to
don't
bite
think
your
it's
head
him.
off. No
Yeah,
one's going to
I
bite
just wanna
anyone's head
know
off. I
No.
just
what you're thinking and why you think that. I want to hear it on the different side of the spectrum. My position is pretty well known here. I think the evidence is strong against Bryan Kohberger. I think he's got a big legal battle ahead of him. I'm not saying that he's guilty. I've not said that he's guilty, but I think the evidence is strong against him. I think pretty similarly, everybody on this panel feels that same way. I'm not going to speak for everybody, but I think we all, feel that as well. But if I have to, I'll definitely open the phone. I just need someone to explain to me why you don't think so, and then who do you think did this? So maybe we'll do that in a little bit.
Here's something to think about too, everybody, is this is a death penalty case, and a lot of people don't believe in the death penalty. So they're not even thinking about the fact that, whether he's guilty or not. He's automatically not guilty because some people don't believe in the death penalty. They don't believe in that. Fortunately, Idaho has that. And if any case, based on what I've heard, let's put it this way. I've had many more convictions with a lot less evidence than we know about right now. Telling you right now. So Bryan, if you could, a lot of people, do you have a pair of shorts with a snap on it right there or something, right? Maybe a pair of jeans that are close by.
Yeah, hang on, I'll grab some. I don't think I have a snap button though. I might have a jacket or something. Why? What we're going to try to get at?
It's hard to snap it.
Yeah.
Well, I want to show.
I've done the knife
listeners.
sheath before. I've had a K-bar knife here, and I've done the knife sheath.
No, but I want to show the snap. I want to show. I want to show something to everyone so they can understand what I'm thinking.
Real quick. By the way, if you have a PhD, you need to rewind and re-listen because that's not what we said. I'll be right back.
I literally took. What did that say? Pull that back.
Mr. Thrifty PhD.
What did it say?
It said Mr. Thrifty PhD.
It said that we said that Bryan Kohberger was guilty because they took photos of his apartment. We didn't say that at all. We said.
We didn't even say.
Who said that?
Yeah.
Oh, Lord have mercy. We didn't even say he took pictures of those apartments.
I didn't hear that. Did you hear that?
I
didn't hear
yes,
that.
We did. We said that Ann Taylor went in and took photos of the apartment so
I
they
didn't
could
hear that
see
part.
what they took out of the apartment.
Oh,
so they could gather intelligence.
Oh, I didn't hear the first part of it.
Yes.
I didn't hear that part.
Yeah.
Why? I mean, I said, I know if I was innocent, like I wouldn't need pictures. I said about me.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe there's another reason. I don't know. Maybe he was worried about his Funko Pop collection. I don't know.
Well, here's another thing that it's reality. So if a defense attorney is defending someone for homicide, remember everything that suspect tells that attorney is confidential. So if BK comes clean and says, yes, I did this, get me off of the death penalty, you've got a job to do. Guess what? She's got a job to do.
That's
so
right.
She may very well know the entire story. So what better way to defend someone when you know what actually happened, so you can combat, the theories.
Oh, yeah. Because that'd be my first question to him. Did you do this?
Right. So
and if he said no, and then when the DNA came out, I would be like, okay, you want to try that again?
What am I going to button?
No, I just want you to show a button in itself, just because I want to explain, somebody made a comment earlier that, I'm not an attorney or whatever, but I can guarantee you I've been to more schools than any attorney for DNA, for evidence retrieval, for any of that stuff. But you see the snap itself, you have a male end and a female end. Okay.
Mhm.
So
Here's
a
a
knife
male end,
sheath,
here's a female.
right. So a knife sheath has the same thing.
Sure.
It has a snap over a leather strap that goes around the tang of the knife, which holds it and secures it to the sheath, keeps it from falling out. But when you pop that knife sheath out, or you pop that snap loose, what happens to your thumbs and your fingers? So
Yeah.
if you were to unsnap that, let's imagine it being a snap, it's going to graze the male
Yep.
and the female side. So you're going to transfer touch DNA into the cracks and crevices and the radiuses of that snap, and they are going to be inside the male and the female, there's a hole on each piece of that. So someone made the argument, he's not stupid, he would have cleaned that. Why would you clean a knife sheath anyway? Yeah, I mean, is he going to clean it because he planned on leaving it there? Give me a break.
I'm getting hot.
Yeah, he's taking off now.
This is what we wear up here, John.
But here's where I'm going with that, everyone. The probability of someone planting DNA on that snap is 0. I don't care what anyone says. 0. But the probability of him possibly cleaning the knife sheath and not cleaning those areas is very high. Who would think to clean the inside of a male and female end of a snap?
Right.
I don't think that he even thought about that.
Right.
I think he buckled
he
it
wouldn't.
and then put
Nobody
the gloves
would.
on and then cleaned it, maybe,
I don't think that he cleaned it, period, to be honest with you. I think that when the evidence comes in and that knife sheath is revealed, his DNA is going to be all over the sheath itself. The bottom line is it's very easy to retrieve DNA evidence off of a non-porous substrate like metal. But when you have a porous substrate like leather and stuff like that, that would have to be sent to the lab. So that part of the evidentiary discovery wasn't out. A lot of this stuff is and everyone also has to remember the state is not the one putting this case together. It's law enforcement that's putting this case together. It's the state,
to the state,
right? And it's the state's job to prosecute based on the state statutes.
Yeah,
so
the police aren't done with this.
They're not near done. I mean, they're getting close, but I'm sure there's plenty of evidence out there that is still has to be, things have to be done. It takes a long time to.
We've had evidence come out during trial.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, look at O.J. Simpson.
Alec Murdaugh.
But there cannot be. There's going to be an epic part of this. Is going to be A, the jury selection, and B, the suppression hearings. That's basically when they try to suppress, because all they're going to do is they're going to try and they're fighting the process. They're not going to be able to fight the evidence. They're going to try and fight the process. That's
wait a minute. I'm confused because Katrina was the one that said, I don't think Bryan did this, but now she's saying you leave touch DNA everywhere. Be careful what you touch. So I'm confused.
You're right, Katrina.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever you come in contact with, it's touch DNA.
Exactly.
Yeah. Walking into a room, you're shedding thousands of skin cells.
Opening a door.
Yep, you're right.
The restroom.
Katrina, hey, answer this one.
I'm sorry.
Why is his DNA in that house on a bed between two murdered women?
And Ann Taylor did not dismiss that.
Well, why? Katrina, can you answer that one, please? I'll be waiting. Thank you.
All right, let's do this. We found out that they have access. They did get the defense did granted access to the training records of the officers. I said this in a couple of streams before this. Laura and I talked about this. What we think with this whole when they had the response for the discovery response from Ann Taylor, and she kind of was chopping down about being placed, et cetera, we said they want the training records because they want to go in and see if these guys ever screwed up along the way anywhere. So they can paint these as either, not not skilled enough or not trained enough, or they mishandled evidence. They didn't do something a specific way to gather evidence. So they're basically just, breaking down the credibility or the training of these officers. And I thought that was going to be a key point in this attack, in this defense, not attack, but this defense of Bryan Kohberger as well, too. Say, hey, they didn't collect evidence. They had, whatever, people walking through the house, et cetera, et cetera. Laura, we actually talked about that.
I mean,
Do you want me? Go
they
ahead.
can look at all of the training records all they want. I mean, and try to debunk it. But I mean, if the DNA is there and we have a canvas and we have, I mean, there's probably more of a digital footprint, like Detective John said. It doesn't matter. These training records do not matter, in my opinion. Like, so they can have them, whatever.
What do you think,
John? Here's what they're doing. Like I said, they've got nothing to lose. So let's say they're asking for these training records, and oh my gosh, the department can't find them. So they rolled the dice and they won that one because they can't find. So anything that officer did, and without subpoenaing, where he went to the academy and speaking with his professors to reestablish that he was in fact trained or she was in fact trained, we got a problem. But in today's digital age, everything's digital. When I first came up, everything was a paper trail. So the chances of them losing my records was pretty high, but the chances of that today are very slim. But she's been around a long time, so she's used to asking for this stuff. That is not any bombshell, any kind of a bombshell like some of these creators are trying to say, oh my God, Ann Taylor won again. No, that's not what happened. Here's what happened. Those officers that they're describing were probably doing minuscule things, like maybe canvassing for witness, maybe did a couple of interviews. One might have attended I don't know, an autopsy or something. But all she's trying to do is challenge everything about the investigative techniques of this case. So the state said, well, she knows from video footage or logs that these officers were there. So she wants their information. But the state is like, well, they really didn't do anything. So why are we gonna slam the court with more witnesses and waste more time when we really don't need to? So the state's like, well, I wasn't planning on using them, but if you want them, okay. So that's what happened there. I can 100% guarantee it. The state wasn't going to use them because they weren't really needed, but she's overzealously trying to pursue every avenue she can.
Of course, yeah.
And she wants them as witnesses because they were there. They might not have been inside the building, but they were canvassing. They were part of the investigation. So she's just trying to ruffle feathers and get out into the public, doubt. And she's doing a good job.
Yeah. Let me do this really quick before I have Laura. I think she was going to pop in. So what we're going to do here, we're at an hour right now. This is going to go into a members only chat. If you want to continue to chat, you can go down there and join a membership. My memberships start at $1.99. That'll get you in to continue to chat here. And I don't know, what are we going to do? Another half an hour? I'm up for whatever you guys.
I don't go to sleep till 2:00 in the morning, so it doesn't matter to me.
So we're going to go to members over. Everybody can still watch, but if you want to chat, you can go down there and join a membership.
And just so you guys know, and I said this before we started, that's not me striking a pose like Arnold. I'm actually doing the phone call thing to call in for another, it was for the T-Rev show. I was just trying to be funny. So.
Real quick, I think Laura was going to pop in and respond to that. Or someone was. I heard someone was going to pop in.
To what, the cast or?
No, talking about the 3 officers in their training.
Yeah, I heard someone speaking.
Well, only one of them could be Moscow PD because 2 of them, I believe, are Idaho State Police that she asked about. Yeah, I mean, pretty much what John said.
Mm-hmm.
It really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter.
But what matters is perception. So perception is she had a victory, because even though the state said, we're not going to, we don't need them. So why do
They're
you need
not
the
our
records?
expert witnesses. You don't
She
need their
wants them
credentials.
anyway. So the judge said, okay, give them to them. And it's not a big deal. I mean, this is like elementary stuff when it
Yeah.
comes to
Mhm.
to these cases. I mean, I had to produce my training. I was deemed an expert witness, so I didn't have to provide it anymore in a lot of things. So once you're deemed an expert witness, you're always an expert witness on whatever that topic is, like drugs or what have you. So being deemed an expert witness, I didn't have to provide it anymore. These guys, there's so many people involved here. She's just looking for anything, and she should. That's her job.
Yeah, of course. So let's do this. Since we're talking about the training records, I got a little video here from Brian Enton. I respect him as a journalist. I think he's great. He's covered the case very fairly, and not showing any favoritism on either side. I really respect him. Let's play this video. It's got about 5 minutes in it, and we'll see what Brian had to say.
Lawyers asked, and the judge said yes, talking about a demand by Kohberger's legal team for background records of 3 Idaho police officers who took part in the investigation of last November's stabbing deaths near the University of Idaho. Kohberger is the only suspect in the horrific murders of 4 university students. Prosecutors say they will seek the maximum punishment for murder in that state, which is the death penalty. And I want to bring in Jana Spilber. She is a defense attorney, trial analyst, and former prosecutor. Thanks for being with us, Jana. Explain to us what the defense could be doing here. Why would they be so interested? Because it was a bit of a fight for them to get these police training records for those 3 officers.
Sure. So what the defense team is doing here is investigating the investigators. And that's important for a number of reasons, not the least of which is evidence is only as good as its source. And in a case like this, which is especially heinous, quadruple murder, and just horrible, we only have one suspect, and that suspect really came about.
So I'm just going to pop this up really quick. I'm going to pause this right now because I just don't understand. So I don't understand lately what your beef has been with me. And I'm going to put this out there and I'm going to announce this tonight. You started a big Twitter war the other day and you tried to get me and T-Rev against each other. Personally, I don't know T-Rev. I've never met him before. I've never been on his panel. I went into his chat about a week ago because he was doing a very similar show, exact similar show to what I am doing tonight. You had no issue with it. But you started a Twitter war between me and T-Rev the other day. I don't know him. I went into his chat a week ago and super chatted him because I respected what he was doing exactly what we're doing here on this panel. And ultimately, in the end, when him and I had to get involved in the tweets and basically say, like, what are you doing? You, at the end of the day, went, oh, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I was just worked up. So you need to stop. You need to stop trying to cause trouble in between all of these channels. We're trying to have a respective chat tonight. We're trying to give a different perspective. And it's okay. If you don't agree with what we're doing, you don't have to watch, but don't disrupt the chat for everybody else because everybody else is having a good time here. Everybody wants this panel this evening. I respect you for being a channel member, but I'm not going to have this type of shit on my panel. I don't get involved in politicking. I'm going to shut it down right away. If you're going to politic, there's a million other channels you can do that with. That's why I shut down my Discord, because all these people that are like 40 and 45, almost up to 65 years old are acting like complete babies. So I don't do it. If that's what you want to do in politic and disrupt this chat and disrupt everybody else, you can go cancel your membership and move on. It's fine. Unsubscribe. That's what I have to say. I'm done with this shit. And it's been you the last couple of days. You've been in here doing it. And it's too bad because you come into my lives all the time and you've been very respectful. But now I have a guest on my show that you don't like, and you're going to try to spin up the chat and spin up Twitter and all that. And T-Rev shut you down the other day too. So I've said my piece. If you don't like it, you can unsubscribe. You can cancel cancel your membership. It's fine. We're going to move on.
Out as a needle in a haystack. So from a defense perspective, it is really crucial to find out the training, the experience, and even the motive of the investigators that actually pinned down Bryan Kohberger as the sole suspect in this very horrific case.
So in a case this complicated, is it common for them to request these records? Like, would you kind of do that no matter what, just to see what's there? Or do you think this shows that this is going to be part of their strategy in terms of maybe going after the police? Is that going to be an important part of their defense strategy?
So it's both. Of course, as a defense attorney, you want everything that the prosecutor is going to provide to you, and then you can figure out what you're going to use, what you're not going to use. And keep in mind also, when you're talking about an investigation like this, the defense team is sort of at a disadvantage because we're not the ones who get the call in the middle of the night to go to the scene of the crime, right? We have to stand back. It's the prosecutor's job to do that. And then we have to hope that the prosecution gives us everything and anything that they were able to call and provide. So it's really, from a defense perspective, we got to get in there and ask for what we want. But from a strategy standpoint, I mean, I don't want to really make this comparison just yet, but let's take a trip down memory lane, right? Almost 30 years ago to the O.J. Simpson murder case, where in that case, it was the cops who tainted the evidence, which really lost that case for the prosecution. It might be a similar strategy here.
Are you surprised that the prosecution didn't just give these records up immediately? Because, we wouldn't even be talking about this now if they just handed them over. There was a little bit of a fight in court. The judge made a ruling and said, no, you've got to give the training records over.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a fight because you do want to keep some of this information private from the public, just like you don't want to dox these police officers, right? But it is still important from a defense perspective. So you can keep that part of it secret, but the defense team can still have access to the important part of those training records. And it was really important for the defense team to make this request. This is a capital case, right? They're trying to keep their client off death row. This is crucial information. It may lead someplace, it may not. But that's the defense team's call to make. And
unfortunately, with the gag order, we don't get to see any of the records or most of the documents like that at this point, at least. So we can't really decide whether they're important or not important. That's what's going to be so interesting about this trial, is so much is going to come out that we've never heard before during the trial. The trial now set for October, Jonna. Do you think that's actually going to happen?
No.
When they first set the date, everyone said, there's no way, but no one has really complained about that date yet in terms of the defense or prosecution. Do you think we may actually have a trial at the end of the year?
It seems so quick for a case of this magnitude. And one of the things that I really have a question, maybe we will find this out later, is I'm looking at the absence of evidence in this case. There should be a whole lot of DNA, a whole lot of forensic evidence in Bryan Kohberger's car, whatever car if he was the culprit, however he got out of there, that DNA is going to exist. You wouldn't be able to get rid of it if you tried. Where is all that evidence? This case is just weird to me because it's not, you can't say, Colonel Mustard in the library with the candlestick. It's not direct like that. So there's a whole lot of evidence that has yet to be seen. I don't know if we're going to see it all by October. That might be a little vicious.
It does seem fast, but we'll see. There's been a lot of strange things about this case, and they do things kind of weird in Idaho sometimes. So we'll see. Jonna Spilbor, thank you so much for being on with us tonight. We appreciate it.
You can talk to me if you're feeling sad.
You can talk to me if you're feeling sad.
So I need to sing some LL for you again, buddy?
What's that?
No.
Yeah, it's just, listen, man.
I'll sing some more LL at the end of the show.
I don't go on
if you
Twitter.
need some love, Bryan.
I was on last night. I was listening to that. It was a good life.
I mean, I just don't, I don't understand. I don't go on Twitter. I don't know T-Rev personally. I've said that I've respected him. And all of a sudden, people are trying to start this war between me and T-Rev. We don't even fucking know each other. It would be a different thing if I've been on his panel 4 or 5 times and there was some history, but we don't even have history.
I'm gonna go ahead and say it, man.
Well, hang on one second. I respect what he does. I mean, Jesus Christ, he had Coffin Daffer on his channel the other day. That's pretty big. But if you don't like it, you can just unsubscribe and leave. Like, you don't have to be here. You don't have to be here.
Well, you want I can address that.
Is it you? It's you, isn't it?
It's because
You,
of
right?
me.
Yeah.
Everybody loves me or loves to hate me, and they think that there's something that happened between There's nothing that happened between T-Rev and I at all. T-Rev is his own person. T-Rev is he does that on his own.
Adult. Like, I can't believe I feel like I'm 12. I literally feel like I'm 12.
And
so
stupid.
Stupid.
He and I had conversations. I respect T-Rev. He's done a great job. He pretty much, I was nothing, and I never followed true crime before. I kind of fell into him. I don't want to go into that, but I kind of fell into that show watching Adventures with Purpose, the diving show where they retrieve, cars and bodies. So I was curious, what the heck's this true crime stuff? And I got in and started looking at it, and I fell into his show, and we hit it off. I became a guest on his show regularly, but for long story short, people liked hearing me on the show, and it kind of stepped on T-Rev's toes, I think, a little bit. And I'm not speaking for T-Rev, but I know how he probably felt. And some people made some comments. What is this, the Detective John show now, and crap like that? And I just got tired of him catching heat for it. And so, and then for me, if I want to go out and creep on other shows, I no one owns me. I should be able to
You guys are adults.
I should be able to go to wherever show I want to go to.
People.
Yeah.
Even if I don't care for the creator and the way that they behave, I still go and I listen to them. And it's pure comedy for me. I'm in tears half the time laughing. But that's what it's about. It's about me. It's not about T-Rev. It's about me. So what they want to do is they want to cast some kind of, create anger and dissension between this part of the true crime community. So I hate to say that there's an us and a them, but there truly is. There are people that they're pro police, they're pro law, they believe what they believe, they're for the blue, and then there are people that hate the police and they hate law and they hate anything to do with law until they need it. But that's what this is all about. That's what that infantile child that just put that banter on there was trying to say. She's a keyboard tough girl. That's all she is. But I guarantee you, if she was face to face with somebody, she couldn't even articulate a sentence without crumbling down, because that's all she knows is how to sit behind a keyboard or a text and attack people. So that's all I'm going to say about that. But that's what it's about. It's about me, and you're all gonna catch hell for having me on any of your shows. But that's why I'm creating my own show. And I'm going to work with all of you. We're all going to be on each other's shows. We better be invited. We're all going to be on each other's shows. And you know what? That's what they do. They have bonded together, and they're creating cliques for each other since I kind of went on a tirade and told them they were all idiots for pushing these false narratives against these victims. I'm not going to say any names. Everyone knows who they are. They're disgusting, and they're making money off of people, and it's wrong to do that. But we'll move on. So I just wanted to address it, man.
Well, I think I'm sorry, Laura. I think that this was going to come up at some point in the show. I knew it probably was, but it's like, why start something between, like, you're just starting stuff between, like, even T-Rev, when we were replying the tweets, we're like, I don't even know what's going on here. Like, what is going on? Like, all I know is, like, I'm at work, and all of a sudden my Twitter is, because I don't even tweet, it's just like going off, and it's like this specific person's like, looks like Detective John is jumping shows and going on Let's Talk Live, and I'm like, so what?
Yeah. Nobody owns Detective John. I can promise you that, and I'm not implying that T-Rev thought he did, but no one. So I think there's people that are on his show and are close to him that are upset that I ventured off. But, bottom line is T-Rev's not on every day. He goes days where he's gone for 3 or 4 days sometimes. hell, he just wrote a great rap song, so
Yeah.
he's posted it. That took a few days, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
But, you know, so I'm allowed to, you know, spread my wings and fly around if I want to. And that's what I did. And that's how I met you. I've never been on any other panel but his, except for today.
Mm-hmm.
So
go ahead, Laura. You're going to say something.
I just want to say that I've been here since the beginning. I came on because we had some people calling in that were causing drama, and I wanted to contribute in a positive manner and not cause any more drama. There's enough drama in our own personal lives. We don't need to bring it to YouTube. Some of the behavior is quite childish. I think we have a really good group right now. And I just want to say to anybody out there that is saying that Bryan disrespects anybody, or if they say he disrespects women, I no, absolutely not. He is one of the most respectful human beings I've ever met, if you could call it met. I'm on here
Virtually.
virtually. I'm on here because I found a place that I can contribute in a positive manner. Bryan and I work well together. And like, there's some really lovely people in the chat, and I've gotten to know a handful
Yeah,
of
but
them.
tell me
And our the old Discord group was a hot mess, and that is not what was ever intended. It was just intended to be a chat group where we talked about Idaho, and then it became pointing fingers, trashing people. That's not what Bryan's all about. That's not what I'm all about. And I really don't believe Tanya, Titanium Bill, and Detective John are about that either. And if you don't like Detective John or some type of thing, like, you don't have to watch, but I'm just really meeting this guy tonight. I've seen him, you know, before when I would catch T-Rev here and there. And, you know, the guy seems like he knows his stuff. Former law enforcement. I have all the respect in the world for former law enforcement. So give the guy a chance. Let him talk. Let him explain things from his perspective. I'm not law enforcement. I'm not former law enforcement. Neither is Bryan. Neither is Tanya. We all have different expertise. So let the guy talk. Let's hear his point of view. So,
but the funny
that
thing
is my
about
soapbox, and
but
that's
the
the
funny
first
thing
time
about
I've
all
ever
this,
done that, Bryan. But yes,
yeah, Laura, I appreciate you, and I appreciate you being here. You and I have created a very strong friendship, and
yes,
we've really gotten to know each other. You know, we know shit. We talk about some really personal shit offline.
oh yeah,
And,
oh yeah.
you know, but the funny thing is too is that the people that spin up all this, they'll go watch Duty Ron and have no problem with it. And I don't get that. I mean, he's former law enforcement. You know, like, why doesn't he get shit? You know, I just don't understand. And the thing is, and you can mark my fucking words on this right now, I have never come on live and ever talking negatively, said one channel name on here, called out any channel by its name. I have never done that. I have never done that.
But
And,
here,
go ahead. What you
but,
say,
but
John?
here's the thing. I did. I
Well,
called him out. I called him out by name. I called out every show, and I called him out because, you know what? It was horrible what was going on at the time. And I wasn't calling them out.
To do that.
I wasn't calling them out because of their belief. I was calling them out because they were exuding a false narrative for everyone to hear.
Right.
They were saying things that were just, there was nothing true about them. They were Xana was a drug dealer, things like that. And you know what? That horrible things. And as a parent, I was literally disgusted when I went over and I would hear them spewing this hateful, nasty things about dead people. And then people were
Not just
given
dead,
$20,
murdered
$30,
people.
$40 stickers, and they're making money on it. It's disgusting. So yeah, they hate me because I called them out, and I told people to unsubscribe from them, and people unsubscribed from them a lot. So that's what it's all about. And I'm not going to apologize for it. Never will.
Let me just recognize this. Mind your business. Thank you so much for the $20 super sticker. I appreciate you. I appreciate you being here this evening. Nice. We appreciate it. Well,
you do have a good chat, though. I mean, you guys do. This is a really good chat. I was in here last night, and everyone was really, I mean, people are really kind. You're always going to have the one or the two people, 3 people that flowed in, but for the most part, I mean, like last night was awesome. I was in here
Oh
and I
my
was like, wait,
God.
I'm like, I was in mod and in here. I'm like,
So here's the
what am I
thing,
doing?
and I
Also,
always,
I'm like infatuated though with everything
yeah,
going on.
here's the thing I always try to express to everybody. You guys miss out on so much great content when I do off Idaho shows. Those are like some of the best shows that we have. I mean, last night we had, uh, we were doing the Brand Amato interrogation. We went with like a 3-hour banger. Everybody was having fun. We were laughing. There was people just opening up in the chat and telling us that like personal things they're going through. I mean, you missed all that content. So I inspire people. If you are inspired by these streams, just because it doesn't say Idaho in the title, you're missing so much. I mean, Rising was in there last night. We had a great time. We
Because a lot of
laughed,
times,
we cried. I
I mean,
got into my
yeah,
personal story about my dad. I mean, it was a great time.
a lot of times we really spend a lot more time. I mean, not to say like a lot more time, but I mean, a lot more time we do on those cases that aren't Idaho because
Sure.
we know the Idaho case so much. It's
Yeah.
easy to put together if, we do put our time into it. I mean, I know you do the same, put in the whole day,
Oh
if
yeah.
not up until the whole day, of the
Absolutely.
stream. But when you have to do a new stream, you have to redo the whole case. You have to, do the like you have to read everything, the timeline, and have to know, what happened in the case so you can relay that to people. On my channel, I do timeline videos.
Yep.
Like if we start a new case, I'll do a timeline video. That way when they get to the live, everyone's caught up. But it's crazy like how much we really put into it. So if you guys could, watch those for us.
And
Watch
it's
those
just,
non-Idaho videos.
it's a little sad, I have to admit, I mean, it's just a little sad, we're putting all this time in and like, on those items, I'm getting like 30 people. I mean, it's great. I appreciate all the people that are coming. The 30 people are there. And believe me, those turn out to be the best shows. So like I was saying, and Titanium was saying, y'all missing out on those because those is when really people start, because I think they feel the chat is smaller. So they really start opening up and we get to learn about people's lives. And it's not only like that particular case. We'll start talking about other things. We talked about music last night. It was a really great show. So y'all missing that. You're all missing those shows.
We have some really great cases we've been talking about getting some shows put on this summer yet. I mean, there's some really great things that we're planning, and they're not boring cases. There's some, like mind-blowing stuff that maybe it's definitely not as publicized as Idaho. So, really check it out. I mean, I'm going to be putting attention. I'm going to be putting in a lot of some research hours to work with Bryan for some of these. So, I mean, he has some good stuff. He doesn't just do it for the heck of it.
No.
Bryan we talked for probably 20, 30 minutes before, and he talked both of you up, tremendously. So he's got a great team, and, it's all about team, and I'm a team guy. And, together everybody achieves more. And that's why I think that if we all work together, we can shut down some of this nonsense that's going on, because people will gravitate toward the truth. I feel like people today will still do that. Although I'm concerned, I am concerned, but I do feel like there are still good people in America that actually use their common sense and won't entertain this useless banter of hate against the police. It's horrible.
John, we know how everybody, when they pass a car accident, they love to gawk and stare. We love that stuff. And I think that's part of the reason why they're gravitated to it. But at the end of the day, they realize, there's only so much nonsense you can deal with until you really want to know the truth.
Right. Exactly.
That's what we're about.
Exactly.
But I did a video kind of on that today. Like, when's enough? I like kind of asked everybody, because as a content creator, under our analytics, it tells us what our subscribers are watching and who they're watching. Right. So, when they come in the chat and they're all like, we don't know who you're talking about. I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
I see you. And I love my chat because we could do that to each other. We can be like, no, hold on a second. So I brought it up in conversation. I said, this is a good conversation to have. Like, when's enough? Like, when have you seen so much like bullcrap from the same creator or the same group or just in this like Idaho 4 case in general where you're just like, okay, I'm done? Because I mean, as a creator, I've wanted to just walk away. So I couldn't,
Well, it's sad. You wouldn't believe the personal attacks I've had. I don't want to even repeat them, but it's just, just, it doesn't bother me. I've got very thick skin. I laugh at that kind of stuff, but you know what it does? It makes me feel good, because if they hate me that much, then I must be doing something. If they hate me that much, or they hate you that much, or there's that much disdain for Bryan, or either the two of you ladies, then we have to be doing something right. We've got to be ruffling some feathers because we're speaking the truth. And that's what they don't want to hear. They don't want their narrative disrupted, because their narrative is making them money. Sorry.
Yep.
But there is no shame. But you know what there is? There's karma. And I'm a 100% believer in karma. So they may not have shame, but one day they will have their karma. And that's all I'm going to say about that. That's all I got to say about that.
Well, I have to say this. We're at an hour and a half. I like to keep them under an hour and a half. I think this was a fantastic show. We're going to wrap this one up. And I want to personally thank Laura for being on the panel. She's been down with my channel since day one, when these chats were 5 people in the chat. She's someone that came along. We've grown this amazing friendship on and offline, have this amazing connection as far as with this true crime connection. Titanium Built, Tanya, a fantastic channel over there. Let's get her to 10,000 subscribers. She's very, very close. And then let's come back here and get this channel to 10,000 subscribers. When you get to that 10,000 subscriber episode, you definitely know I will be there, and you are always welcome on this channel.
Well,
Detective, you're welcome. Detective John, thank you so much for coming on the panel. We've had some conversations over the last couple of days. I love that you've come on. Keep things straight. And if you decide to get a channel going, and when you get your channel going, you definitely know that you have my support. And I appreciate you being here this evening as well, too.
Thank you.
Yeah,
hey, and I look forward to working with each and every one of you. I mean, like I said, I think, together everybody achieves more. So we can put a dent in some of these lies that are being perpetrated out there with the truth and some explanation,
How could I have forgot? You guys missed it last night. Detective John actually called in and did a rap song.
I didn't miss it.
That's what I mean. You're missing these shows. Some of the most offlandish shit happens in these non-Idaho. That's when I have the most fun, because I feel more relaxed.
Yeah, I crack myself up.
It was
great.
Like
it. I'll humiliate myself at any time. I suck at rapping, but
it was great.
I could have done the old Howard Stern thing. Hey, everybody, pull a speaker up to you and put the bass on high. But I didn't do that. But hopefully people slept afterwards and didn't have nightmares.
Oh, it was fun. It was great.
That's going to wrap up this edition of the Let's Talk Live podcast. An amazing episode. I'm sure these fine folks will all be back at some point. I will be back this week. Let me just drop the link for my next show. We're going to wrap up on tomorrow night. I'm going to do part 3 of the Grant Amato interrogation. It's taking me forever to get through it, but we will get through it. But I want to do it for the nighttime, because that's when everybody has been watching. And then this week, I will be doing the Grant Amato trial. And then maybe at the end of the week, we'll whip up another Idaho stream and see who we can get on the panel and hang out. All right, folks. Thank you all this evening. All be safe. I'll be back tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to come over and hang out, please do, because you're going to miss the show. If it's your first time here, make sure to subscribe. Turn on your bell notifications. Hit that like button. And if you want to become a member, you can do that as well. Hit the join button down below. Titanium Built, thank you so much. Laura, thank you so much. Detective John.
Thank you.
We're going to hit the outro. We're going to be out of here. We'll see you guys next time.
Good night. God bless.